It's hot.
Hot church is hot. Hot church is the worst church, man.
Hot church is hot.
You got to do a lot of praising to take your mind off a hot church.
Man, listen, I sweated. They had to bring me a second towel.
Oh, they had to bring you a second. Hey, welcome to my world, man.
I had to get a second. I need Mike Marsh's mom to bring me a
listen.
What is the thing called? A cape too.
A cape?
I needed a cape today, Doc.
Brother, nah, they already give me a wet, moist towel to wipe my face and that. And we had a hot service last week, and I think we got hit a little bit, because we blew a fuse. But those are some of the worst, man. And here's the sad thing: we grew up on it, and now we can't tolerate it.
You're right.
That's all right, fellas, we are rolling.
Man, what's happening?
What's going on, Doc?
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect Podcast.
What's happening, everybody?
You was waiting for the music. You was waiting. We all got saved for real this week, so we got rid of all the hip hop. Intro music.
We ain't doing none of that no more.
It's Terry and service. Welcome to Religiously Incorrect Terry and service. Not the Benny Hinn. Not the Benny Hinn.
We saved.
Speaking of which, he's been like going on a repentance tour, talking about how he preached a bunch of wrong stuff.
He should. He ought to repent. Creflo Dollar repent. Everybody repent.
Well, Creflo's hooping now. He was in Columbus hooping the other night.
Yeah.
Yes, he wants to be on our team again. Well, welcome, y'all to Religiously Incorrect.
We are brought to you today by the African American Community Fund. The African American Community Fund, established in 2020 of the Foundation for Appalachian Ohio, supports Black-led and Black-serving organizations throughout the 32 counties of Appalachian Ohio to elevate the quality of life and address disparities in African American communities. Please check them out at www.appalachianohio.org or give them a call at 740-753-1111.
Well, hello, everybody that's tuning in. Make sure you like, share, tag. Pastor Glenn, want to give a shout out to Pastor Glenn Robinson, who shared the word today at Second Baptist.
Everybody in Warren got saved.
Everybody in Warren got saved, including the preachers, finally. Finally. But no, they had a wonderful time. I had to be in Meadville, preach for my good friend, Bishop Designate Cameron Bowman, for their 108th anniversary. Our churches are the same age.
Wow.
108 years old, Second and St. John in Meadville.
Wow, I did
so
not
that
know
was
that.
was a blessing. We enjoyed that. Sister KK missed you too. Sister Carletta.
Brought to you by Basement.
Brought to you by Basement. Welcome back, Scott. We appreciate you ragging on our new set.
Listen, our new set is hot, baby.
Man, listen. How can we be a church podcast and not have wood paneling?
That's it, Doc.
I mean,
I thought we was going to have the wicker chairs.
I mean, you can't have a church podcast and not have wood paneling.
Yeah, wood paneling.
I mean, when we covered up the wood paneling in a second, we lost a little bit of the Holy Ghost power in the church just by doing that. God said, "Oh, okay, you want to put drywall up? I got you. No more miracles.
It's gonna be dry.
Right. It's gonna be
a dry wall
from now on." Well, hey, first things first. I like calling it first things first. We all watched this travesty on Thursday night. Old and older.
Dumb and dumber.
Dumb and dumber. Bad and worse.
My
Trump
God.
versus Biden. What are we gonna do, y'all? What are we going to do?
I mean, we've said for so long, and people have said it so many times that it's like picking the worst,
the lesser of two evils. Yeah.
Listen, I don't even think this is worth picking the lesser of two.
I don't know, man.
It's
like Satan versus the devil. I mean, I don't know what this.
It is bad.
And I hate this. And okay, it's unfair because I know people are going to jump on here and go into the policies and all that. I'm not here to talk about the policies. I already know whose policies I agree with for the most part. But the fact that Joe Biden was up there looking like a cadaver. I mean, I started dialing Sterling's phone number while I was watching. I started calling Sterling like I think you got another customer. He looked so bad from the very first shuffle.
You wouldn't have been able to get in touch with Sterling because him and Blacks and the other dude on Glenwood, they was all talking.
They was all talking to each other.
Who's gonna do it?
I already got the measurements. The first shuffle out. As soon as he shuffled out and opened up his mouth, I was like, we're in trouble.
Yeah, you're right.
This is bad.
So can I give my honest
opinion? Go ahead.
Give my honest opinion.
Go ahead.
Let me say this. First of all, I don't pick a president based upon the
The party?
Not the party. What is it? What was it called?
The debate?
The debates.
Okay, you don't pick one based on the debate.
I think debates to me are like the SATs at school. You know, some people can just do them.
Okay.
Some people are just better at doing those SAT tests. You know, they can just stand there and they can just do them. And I couldn't do SATs.
Right.
I pick my president based upon, especially if he's already ran. What did he do his last 4 years?
Okay.
And so I just think he's done some amazing things. And that's just me. I'm talking to me.
You're saying President Biden has done some amazing things.
He's done some amazing things over the last 4 years.
So you think $10 milk is amazing?
I think the $250 and the $150 I got for my sons was amazing. That child tax care. I think that he passed the most aggressive environmental justice thing that has ever come. I think that was amazing. I think all the people, although my wife missed it, which I'm still mad about, all the people who got their student loans given.
Well, I'm not one of them, so I'm not.
Well, then you should have. You and my wife both. Okay. I guess council people don't check on stuff like that.
Okay, here's now since we got the raise. A lot of people say vote for the policies, vote for the administrations, vote for the plans that they have, and I agree with that. Mm-hmm. If you haven't looked up Project 2025, you probably should.
Yes.
It's an entire think tank strategy that is being prepared for the Trump administration if they get in to completely overhaul the federal government. I think it's toxic and dangerous. But here's what I'll say. No matter what policy you agree with, which I would say this about Trump when he was running, and there were some Republican policies that made sense.
Absolutely.
It still matters how you present it.
Absolutely.
And when you tell me that, well, you're not voting for the person, you're voting for the administration, or you're voting for the judges they might appoint, or you're voting for the policies. But at the end of the day, it's their job. The system we have right now is that y'all put one dude up to represent all of that.
Absolutely.
That's what you do. That's the system we're given. And by the way, whenever I complain about the system, people are always like, well, it's what the best we got, and this is what you got to work with. Okay, fine. So guess what? That dude up there practically looking like a dead man, that's the best we got. Because it's based off of how you perform on TV. And Trump, all Republican policies are not horrific, even though there is some stuff that's very toxic. And I'm the first one to say that. But like their economic policies are not totally horrific and some of the things they do. But Trump was obviously the world's worst spokesperson until Biden started taking a terrible dive. And it was clearly his cognitive ability and energy levels. And so I do agree fully. Put it this way, I'm an independent. Everybody knows that. I'm an avowed independent.
And I guess I would say this to add to it, that although Biden may be sleepy, he may be tired, he may even be antiquated. I don't even know if that's a good word to call him, but
ancient. He's a mummy. He's the mummy.
Here's the thing. I believe that he has the people behind him, the party behind him, that at least will keep him accountable. I don't think anybody can keep Trump accountable.
I agree. I think he is a wild card.
Agent.
He's a rogue. Yeah, I think he's a wild card. I still think Putin owns him. I still think Putin owns him. I'm sorry. I don't understand how international people can take him seriously.
Right.
He was like, I wrote him a letter and said, don't do it. I'm like, what? That's not diplomacy.
To be honest with you,
that's like a mother, like 3, 2, 1.
I honestly don't think they do take him seriously.
I don't think they take him seriously.
They don't.
No.
And I also think the Democrats need to get somebody else, man, while they can.
We don't get nothing, but there's no time. Who we gonna get? The best candidate to me is what is his name? I'm not trying to get in trouble on here.
Just get in trouble.
What is the guy who is No, he's not.
He's gay.
He's gay.
Buttigieg.
He's
probably the best guy.
He seems to have the best. They'll
lose a lot of black church folk on that one.
What about Newsom from California?
They won't say it, but they'll lose a lot of black church folk on that one.
California crazy.
Yeah,
garbage.
They will beat him up so bad on California. Like all of California is a homeless camp at this point. Like the entire doggone state.
I mean, great guy, but right. Lord have mercy.
Yeah. California is a dumpster fire right now. I mean, it's not where it's at. Kamala is not strong, and that's the thing.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about the story behind the story. One of the issues. Thanks for bringing it up, Scott. Okay, let's be clear. One of the issues is, first of all, I'm not a Kamala Harris fan. Mm-hmm. I met her. Seems like a wonderful woman. It was an honor to meet the VP up in Cleveland one time. But I don't trust her ability to be president right now. And I don't think most people do in the party. And certainly, if a black man caught that kind of hell,
right?
What is a black woman?
I haven't trusted her ever since I found out she dated Montel Williams. It was over for me.
Montel Williams.
I was done.
Not Montel.
Well, no, it was Montel Jordan, right?
No, it was Montel Williams.
Yeah.
It was Montel Williams. So I don't believe in her, but that would be the fight, because if she's not the next person up, then that's what becomes a fight. But I'll be honest. So I obviously am a history nerd. I'm big on political history. Like, I love political history. And up until like the 60s, actually the early 80s, when who challenged Jimmy Carter? Somebody challenged Jimmy Carter. Anyway, it used to be like a convention fight. Mm-hmm. All this stuff was not predetermined the way it is now. It used to be like at them conventions, it was like a real shown up fight. Like if you ever watched stuff in like 68 when they had all the protests and stuff, they was up in there, the Shirley Chisholm stuff when she was going up against the dude. I don't think they need to go back to that. Both parties should, because all this predetermined who can be the bigger star and stuff, like that's become toxic on both sides. Because obviously Trump won one side, Biden being the most powerful Democrat, but also the world's oldest Democrat, destroys that side. I think it needs to go back to party fights. Like they tried to kill that like undercover deal making stuff, but I think they need to go back to it, or people should start running as teams. Like in other countries, they run as an entire, like this is the government that's gonna run.
I've said that
so if you're telling me that the administration is what matters and who he's gonna appoint, well then put all y'all up there on a flyer and say this is who you voting for.
That's it.
This is who I'm probably gonna make the Commerce Secretary. This is who I'm probably gonna make.
K1, I need you to make flyers.
K1, make some flyers.
Make some flyers.
You know how y'all be making them church flyers with 15 bishops on them? With like 30 pastors are gonna speak this week at AIM. That's what you need to do. You need to put the president's entire roster, the whole general board of the Democratic Party.
I'm done.
The entire roster of the Republican Party.
Oh my God.
So I really believe people should run with the group they plan on serving with and let the people make the choice.
Right.
Like, this is who I'll be working with. This is who I would like to appoint to the war stuff, the Secretary of State, all this, all that. That way, when you talk, because there might be people on certain sides who are like, yeah, I don't want that dude.
Absolutely.
That dude is, and we all know the president does not run this all by himself. He's just the figurehead and the spokesperson for policy. But I'm a little scared because Trump was already leading. And remember, y'all, I know I got a lot of Democrats, and we know a lot of Democrats watch this outside of Scott. But we're not the target audience. There is a slim middle in key states that are trying to determine whether or not they should go back to Trump's kind of unwieldiness or Biden. We don't know if he's going to be around.
We can also
They're the ones.
You can also say, remember, Obama lost
the first debate in 2012.
Debate. He lost the first debate.
Yeah, he did.
So we have to, maybe this is an evil genius. Maybe, well, they already calling him an evil.
I love when they call that dark Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what?
I call him Uncle Joe.
You can't be evil and old.
Yes, you can. No, I know a lot of.
You can't be an evil genius and an old sleepy Biden at the same time.
I know a lot of evil old folk.
Here's what I want to say before we go on.
Okay.
Here's what I want to say. I think it was what's your boy Abraham Heschel.
Okay.
Said indifference to evil is actually worse than evil itself. And I think that we have come to the conclusion that, we can care less about character, less about conduct. And I'm talking about a society that, whatever Trump is doing, it's just like none of that matters. This cat can, and people just cool with it.
But they talked about that the first time around. They were like, we are not voting for a pastor. We're voting for a president.
But I think even the president needs to have some type of character.
He does.
Some type of standards.
Okay, well, can I be clear here? Being the nerd of history that I am, you found out some of the stuff these other presidents was in, man. I mean, John F. Kennedy was cheating on his wife the whole time, right? I mean, he's not the first. He's the first dude to flaunt it
Right.
Because he's a reflection of the culture we've become, where you're supposed to flaunt it. Whereas back in the day, it was like a press secret, don't let people know you're doing this, you're doing that. Warren G. Harding had a mistress. There is a bunch of illegitimates out there.
We're talking about mistresses. We're talking about, 32 counts?
Okay, and again, and I'm not playing devil's advocate, but maybe I am. You'd be surprised at how many counts people should have been charged up on. Ronald Reagan sold doggone weapons to terrorists.
We know how many counts this cat got.
I know. I'm just saying.
Get him out of there.
Ronald Reagan and his people sold.
You're out of here. You're out of here.
Hey, that's triggering, man. After I got thrown out that baseball game.
I forgot.
That hurts my feelings now. Yeah, man, I got tossed out of. Yeah, man. The pastor got tossed one week. I repented though. All right, y'all. Y'all got 4 months to figure it out. That's all I got to say. We got 4 months to figure it out. Y'all give Biden an Ensure, a B12 shot, something. Help a brother out. Just tell him to stop staring off into space and hanging his mouth open.
Please.
That's what. If he can stop doing that.
Please.
I think he can make it, because that little look, bro. That was a scary. I'm like, does he have teeth? Somebody put his teeth in.
Just go play golf and call it a day.
You know what? They should just decide this on the golf course. We shouldn't even vote. They should just have a driving contest.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Trump can hit harder than Biden.
Well, here's what I do believe, and this is my final word: the black vote for Trump is on the upswing.
It is.
I'm telling y'all. It is on the upswing.
It is.
You can argue it. You can be mad at people. Truth be told, being mad at folk don't help. You need to make a better argument. That's the way I say. Make a better argument, because a lot of young blacks, a lot of black males ain't feeling the Democrats and Biden for reasons we can put on a whole nother show. But it is what it is. Thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you like, share. We can't wait to introduce our special guest to you. But right now, hey, that look could have been the meme of the week. Thank you, Pastor Wingfield. Thank you, Dr. Wingfield. It's time for meme of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the week. Meme of the week.
We are. These are all jokes. We are just playing.
All right, y'all. So our meme of the week is a segment in which we find some videos, some pictures, something that I found humorous, something that Pastor Jeff found humorous. Now, there was one I want to apologize to Sister Jeanette. She sent me a really good one, and we're going to use it soon. It was really good. We'll save it for another day. But usually the memes we get sent aren't always the best, but that was a really good one. But here's what we got for today. If you grew up in church, you know exactly what this meme is talking about. You know exactly where we're going with this. Just put it up and just read it for yourself. Your church seats 25 people. Why did you invite 8 choirs? Your church seats 25 people. Shamika's church. And that's the other COVID casualty, is overstuffed church fellowship service. Remember, you would invite like all the churches in the city to one service and have to put chairs in the aisles? Chairs in the aisles church was the best church.
Church started at 7:00 and the preacher didn't get up till 9:30.
Listen, pushing 10. Kids asleep, got to go to school in the morning, and we still calling up every church one by one to do an A and B selection and give expressions. The lead minister would be like, they're going to come in their own way.
Right.
In other words, 45 minutes from now, they still going to be up there. And then there's the classic, we're small in number tonight. Our entire choir couldn't make it. But you know what happened towards the end? You know what killed it? Is when people stopped bringing their choirs. I'm going to tell you what killed it. People stopped bringing their choirs, and everybody started bringing their mime team.
There you go. There you go.
But am I wrong? But am I wrong? I'll be Trump today. I will say what nobody else is willing to say. Y'all killed the fellowship services when people stopped bringing their choirs, and all this bunch of Casper the Friendly Ghost out there lined up in the pew, ready to dance to stand. Okay. Stomp. What was that J-Mon song? If I Were an Eagle.
If I Were an Eagle.
Everybody doing the hands.
If I were
Everybody doing
an eagle.
Once you stop bringing the choirs and everybody was doing the dances, because dances are easier than choirs. You don't need musicians for them. You know, you didn't have to worry if the organist showed up or not. Didn't have to have a full alto, tenor, or whatever. You just need a couple kids to wave their arms or whatever. And once you did that, he knows what I'm talking about. You just need a couple kids to wave their arms.
I'm saying nothing negative about mime ministries.
I'm saying it, okay?
I love the mimes. Mime on.
We don't care about your daughter, man.
Mime
We know
on.
your daughter dance.
Yeah, mime on.
All I'm saying is, mime is beautiful. Okay? Mime is beautiful. But all I'm saying is, it killed the fellowship service choir vibe. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I do like some good mimes, but then there are some, you know, they ain't got no mime outfits on. They ain't got no gloves.
They went out about Jason masks from the Halloween store because they didn't want to put paint on their face.
None of the movements match the words. But hey, put that picture up again, Mike.
But the 8 choirs, okay, let's go back to the 8 choirs.
Bill Cosby wore some of the dopest sweaters.
He did. He was a sweater originator.
Them sweaters was cold.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It looked like them sweaters, that looked warm.
That hat ain't bad either, though.
That hat ain't bad.
That hat ain't bad either.
That looked like old George
But again,
Johnson jump
this
right
was
there.
not an anti-mime screed. It was just a pro-choir. I'm not anti-mime. I'm just pro-choir. That's all. That's all. When the choir would get up and sing, you could sing with them. I can't get up and mime with the mime.
You can.
I mean, hey.
You can.
All right, next time I see Chastity, I'm going to be like, I got some moves too.
I cannot see Pastor Todd miming. Man.
I might just try.
I just can't see it.
Just
I'm
to prove
sorry.
a point. Just to prove a point. And I bet you I'll get some more people agreeing with me.
You get the mimes, then you get the flags to go with the mimes, and then you trying to
Then the
sit in the
deacons
front
got to
row.
get up. Yeah, the front row got to get up and move.
Because them flags ain't no joke.
This
Boy,
is
they will bust you in.
so disruptive, man.
Karate chop flags.
Listen, Scott. If Trump pledges to ban mine, he's got my vote. He's got my vote. All right, if you have a meme you'd like us to play or show online, send it to us at religiouslyincorrectpodcast@gmail.com. Again, we got a really great one from Jeanette, Sister Jeanette. I really appreciate the one she sent. It was a good one. We'll play it next time. We enjoyed it, Mike and I. But we love the memes. We love laughing. Laughing is good for the soul. Remember, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing with you, except for when we're laughing at you.
And we're talking about mimes.
And we're talking about mimes. We're always laughing. So we want to thank everybody for watching and tuning in. And we want to thank our sponsors, Phillips Family Care of Businesses. You know, they've been a long-time sponsor of this show, Phillips Care Lawn Services. It is late in the summer, but you can still secure them for your lawn care needs. Call them at 330-219-7916. And trust me when I tell you, they do it all. They don't just cut grass. They do edging, trimming, removal of debris. If they can take care of your bushes, mulching, all that stuff, they do a phenomenal job, and they do it well. Look them up, and while you're at it, check out Phillips Care Cleaning Service, residential and commercial. I am a satisfied customer. They've done carpet cleaning for me. They've done repairs and renovation work for me in my home and our church. And so check them out. They can take care of it all. Floor cleaning, carpet cleaning, move in, move out, upholstery. If it has to do with your home or building, they can take care of you. Not only can you call 330-219-7916, but you can look up on Facebook, Phillips Care LLC.
All right. We are also brought to you by Action, the Alliance for Congregational Transformation, influencing our neighborhoods.
Whoop, whoop.
Action, we are going on 25 years old. We fight all racial discriminations. We deal with bad landlords. Matter of fact, we are coming up to Warren to deal with a couple things. So be on the lookout for us. We'll be up here for a couple different things.
Get your torches ready.
Over the next couple months. But we are dealing with food insecurities, several different things. So just be on the lookout for us. We are excited about bringing our new truck up here.
Mobile market truck.
The new mobile market
Yes,
is coming
sir.
up here. Listen, we're about to take over Trumbull County, boy.
Listen,
We're about to
might
bring
as well. Might as
we're
well.
about to bring it.
And we got the new logo up.
And we got the new logo. Look at the new
got the
logo.
new logo. Look
at the new logo.
smooth.
Rosetta, are you happy with us?
She's happy. Elder Carter is happy.
Thank you, new sign. Listen, Carla, I think you, Rosetta, and
Stop it.
and Miss Melanie
Just stop
should do
now.
a mime
Just
at
stop.
second
Just stop
in a
now.
couple weeks.
Just-
Miss you, Rosetta.
I rebuke
and
all
Miss
of you.
Melanie.
I rebuke you, all of you, in the name of Jesus. All right, y'all. Well, thank you for being with us. We have a wonderful guest with us, and the theme tonight, the title tonight for the bulk of our show, for the subject matter of our show, is the Loofah Classic.
The loofah.
A house is not a home. We're here to talk home ownership, home buying, and the struggles and barriers and how we can overcome them, particularly in the African American community.
Right.
And with us tonight is a dear brother of our community who has been working in the real estate field for some years and is committed to educating and empowering our community. No matter what station of life you're in, he can work with you and work beside you to get to that next stage in life as it concerns home ownership. I know that was one of the things that my dad pressed on me when I was coming home from Kent and I was ready to get an apartment. He said, "You're not getting an apartment. Move back home and get ready to buy a house."
That's it.
That's all he would say to me, and I'm glad he did. At the age of 22, I bought my first house, and it set me on a path to be able to be where we are now, home-wise. And so I want you all to give a great, big, religiously incorrect welcome to Brother Calvin Williamson, Deacon Calvin Williamson, who is the president of the Youngstown Warren Realtist Association. Let's give it up for Deacon Williamson in the house with us today. How you doing, my brother?
Fine. Real good. I feel really blessed and privileged to be able to sit here amongst you good brothers
Yes, sir.
and talk about a subject that is very dear and to my heart.
Now, we hope you've enjoyed the show so far.
Oh,
He was over there cracking up off camera. he said, "What is this show about?" I was like, "You'll find out. You'll find out."
A little bit confused.
Yeah, right.
Why am I here?
Why am I here? How is this going? Well, and for those that are uninitiated, Religiously Incorrect Podcast is just a time for Pastor Jeff and I to shoot the breeze as pastors, but also men, Christians, and just everyday people that face everyday struggles. And one of those everyday struggles is the struggle of home ownership, and especially in the African American community. Now, to be clear, it's affecting everybody in some measures. The world has gotten harder to afford to live in. The American dream seems further away for a lot of people of all races, stations, ages, and all. But you cannot deny the severe disparity that exists when it comes to the African American community, the Black community in home ownership, which is a far cry from the trajectory that we had previously been on in my grandparents' day, in my father's day. I mean, everybody was moving up from down south, getting their hands on a house back in the day. My grandfather moved up from Yazoo City, Mississippi, bought a house on 2nd Street, and it's like been a legacy in our families, but now we're seeing an incredible downward shift. And I want you to start there, Deacon, just start there and talk about the disparity in the numbers as it concerns African Americans in home ownership. Where do we fall in the American picture of home ownership?
Oh, Pastor Todd, we are dead last.
Wow.
The national average is right around like 43%. Just to give you some idea, we are worse off right now. Our numbers are worse off right now than what they were before 1968, the Fair House Act, signing of the Fair Housing Act. That is very depressing.
So if the average is 43%, what is it for us? What is the home ownership rate for us?
For Warren, I believe Warren is less than average.
Wow.
So, I mean, I know that at least right now, rent gouging, people are paying $1,500 and, over $1,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Would it not make sense to at least try to get things in order to buy? What is the main reason people are just falling away from it?
That's a good question.
Well, it's a mindset.
Okay.
It's a mindset. But the mindset has been caused by terrible injustice that had been done to blacks systematically, politically, stuff that was ingrained in laws that were passed to eliminate or discourage black home ownership. I mean, if you go back, if you Google the situations back in the day, the laws that were on the record today, that you couldn't buy a house. For example, with veterans returning from war, World War II, World War I, Korea. I mean, yeah, you had the GI Bill, everything was, but that was only for whites.
I was aware of that a lot of blacks were excluded after serving their country from the benefits of the GI Bill.
Yeah, and there was things like redlining, and it's also the government. It's also, excuse me, it's also financial institutions.
Okay.
They played a major part in the disparity where we're at now.
Right.
And then what happens is that becomes generational. You know, mom couldn't get a house, dad couldn't get a house because the laws were so biased. And then so you fall into the mindset of, why try?
Wow.
Why try?
And on top of that, you have some that home buying was the legacy of a family or a community, but then it falls off. Like you have younger generations coming along, maybe not maintaining the family home, losing it. Some of us did not have the knowledge and the barriers as well, legal barriers, but didn't have the legal knowledge of how to properly pass down a home and make sure it's in somebody's name.
Right.
So many black homes got trapped in probate. You know, people live in there and it's not technically in their name. And then when something happens, they try to do something and move ahead. They find out that they don't even have rights to the home. What do we say about the decline from those who were able, and now less and less generations are either engaging or have the knowledge or wherewithal to go in that direction?
Well, that comes with, that's brought about by a lack of education and about knowing what you have your hands on, understanding the value of home ownership. That's, you know, when mom has a house, she has a house, the house is in the family, and then someone decides that, you know, mom dies or whatever, and then the house doesn't get taken care of. You know, they look at, well, I don't want to take care of the house. It's too much of a pressure on me. And they don't have the, the initiative or either the compassion that mom had when she bought it, but they don't understand the significance of home ownership and how it affects them in building wealth.
Right.
You know, that's the biggest challenge that we have. I'm part of the Realtists, and we are part of NAREB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers.
Okay.
And our main goal is to institute change,
right,
both politically on the political market and on the banking market.
Right.
We're very active nationally, statewide, and local in initiating change. And we have initiated a lot of change in the banking industry. That's why you have all these different loan programs now that are geared towards low and moderate income housing. You know, the pendulum is changing.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, they did some bad things to us.
Right.
Obviously. And you can go online and you can research that.
Right.
And you look at that, be careful, because it's going to make you mad.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to make you mad to see how we were legally blocked out of home ownership.
Right.
We couldn't do that. I know when I read it, it upset me. But now we stand at the point now as to where we have control. We can change that atmosphere. And that's our struggle as realtors. Our struggle is to educate our people and let them know the importance of home ownership and how it can make a difference in your life. I mean, building wealth for your kids. Just for example, if you want to send your child to college and you're renting, you don't have any place to draw money from. So what happens is you get into more loans, you know, school loans and whatnot. Whereas if you had a home that has some equity, you could draw from that, you know, help your situation out. Even just that simple.
In far better terms than a school loan would put you in on a situation.
Now, again,
go ahead.
As so often, those of you who have been watching or been with us over the several years, Pastor Todd and I are like ice and water, you know, ice and sun, whatever, but away from each other. But
Kool-Aid and beer.
Right. But, you know, I grew up and my father didn't tell me. I had no idea about,
right,
you know, raising income or building income or even building credit.
Right.
So my thing was, I want to have the dopest car.
Right.
I want to have the most smoothest car
Right.
out, and so I went out and bought me a Lincoln Continental. You know what I
Right.
mean? That I couldn't afford.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that was a priority over.
That was my priority over
Right.
a house. I wasn't even thinking about a house. That was just, as long as I could rent an apartment, I got some place to stay. I got a roof over my head.
Right.
And I think a lot of people feel like that, and they just don't understand because it's not been taught. So by the time I'm 22, 23, you're buying a house, I'm getting ready to file bankruptcy because I didn't had my car repossessed. I didn't, got kicked out of a couple apartments. My electric been cut off. You know what I mean? Because I'm just living day by day. You know what I'm saying? I am spending everything on what I want and not taking care of what I needed.
Right.
And so now, now my credit is jacked up. Because when you get out of school, they throwing credit cards at you
All day.
and I'm spending them like a big dog.
Been there.
25% interest.
Right. And happy about it.
Happy about it.
Yeah.
Buying everything I thought I was big and bad enough to do. So I think a lot of our young people are living that reality.
And to that, and I want Mr. Williamson has told me, and I've been privy. I'm a proud member now of the Youngstown Realtist Association, and I love being a part because you don't have to just be a real estate professional in the proper sense. You can be an advocate, you can be a supporter, you can be someone who works alongside. But what he just said, and I've heard you all give this line about a program, an initiative you'd had some time ago about not worrying about a house, but wanting to have the baddest car.
Right.
And
House before the car.
there it is, the house before the car. So that's an initiative. Go ahead and tell us about that.
House before the car. Yes, we started that because that dealt with the mindset of most our younger generation, middle-aged generation now, and there's a reason. I feel there's a reason for that because the disparity brought that on. If you figure you have no options, you're not. The system is working so hard against you, to own a home. So you throw your hands up and say, why not? Let me get me a nice car.
Right. If I'm going to live in the ghetto, I might as well live ghetto fabulous.
Right.
But
Literally,
it's
that's where that came from.
But it's also a reality that you don't have to have the greatest credit score to get the nicest car.
Right.
That is true.
You might have a 2019 Mercedes with 325 miles on it.
325,000 miles, right.
It looked good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It might not make it to Youngstown.
But we're going to find out in a second that is also the case because it was the case for me buying my first house. My credit was not the greatest. I was mid-sixes. And they gave me a few months to get a few things together. And then, God bless, I wish I could go through my records and find this lady's name. It was a black mortgage loan officer at U.S. Bank in Akron. And I'm buying a house in Warren, and she wanted to squeeze me into every possible program that when I showed up to the closing, I showed up with a $540 check for closing. And it was already a cheaper house to start, but it could have been a few $1,000s for closing costs and all that. But she made me aware of what I wouldn't have been aware of. And I pray she's even still with us. She was an older black lady at the time. But she squeezed me into this regional grant thing for young African-American first-time home buyers and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I showed up with. And there are a lot of programs we'll get to in a minute that now are actually in the same boat. Literally what we think of as cars. And I guess ironically enough, cars now cost as much as houses at this point, that you'd be better off finding you a fixer-up house, cheaper than you can find a car, at this point. But the book I wanted to mention is called The Color of Law. It was assigned to us. I forget what class I was taking. And it's about the history of redlining and the ghettoization of black people through government policy. And that's everything from HOAs to the suburbs to white flight to, as Sister KK, her father was an Attorney Martin, by the way, Attorney Howard Martin, rest his soul, very prominent attorney in the city of Warren, black attorney, had deeds and documents that said do not sell to blacks.
Right.
They were aware
Absolutely.
that there were places that said will not sell to blacks. There's a movie on, I think it's Netflix, called The Bankers, or it's Hulu or one of those, and it's about some black men who used a white guy to buy a bank because they could not do it. It was Samuel Jackson and somebody else. So those things are very real. And I want you to tell us a little bit about you mentioned it already, Deacon Williamson, about how you guys are working to turn that pendulum and how the fights you've had to work with the banks to basically tell them they need to shift their policies. We heard about credit scores. Jason mentioned down payments being a barrier to him. And I know Jason, good friend of mine, brother in our church, good brother in our church. He says, my main barrier is down payment. Pastor Jeff, said main barrier is credit score. First of all, tell us, what is a realtist versus a realtor? How are they the same and how are they different? Because some people may not know. And then talk about how that work has come to address those issues of, low down payments, credit score issues.
Wow. Okay. Well, realtors and realtists, first of all, you have to understand why we became realtors, where that came from.
Okay.
1947, blacks could not become realtors.
Okay.
All right. So 8 men and 4 women, 2 women got together in Tampa, Florida in 1947 on a very hot day and formed National Association of Real Estate Brokers. And their main primary focus, as it is today, is democracy and housing. And so what we do, we cater towards black home ownership.
Wow.
Okay. Because blacks could not buy. I mean, imagine what they were doing back in 1947.
After the war, you're thinking after World War II, people coming home. Right.
You couldn't buy a house, and you couldn't. I mean, you had where you was renting that was you just could not change your situation.
Right.
It was in a hopeless state. So NARAB was formed, and their job was to change all that. Now over the years, that's what we do. You say the difference between a realtist and a realtor. A realtor is we both do the same thing. But the realtist is concentrated on helping people of color.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's
underserved populations, underinvested
that's
people.
where our passion is, and we taken that to a political and financial institutional level, where we have instituted change, advocated for change. Just for example, off the cuff, a lot of different way that what they had to do that diverse. Credit scores where now you can use your rent as to qualify for your credit. You can use your cell phone bill, your dish bill, your TV bill, all these things. What we call these is non-traditional lines of credit. That's what they call it. Non-traditional.
But they eat up a lot of our budgets, and we deserve to get credit for the fact that we are maintaining our finances on exorbitant fees and bills that come to live.
Now, can I ask a question? Because if that helps, can it also be a deterrent? Can it also be because I know,
if you got a bunch of bad Time Warner bills and
I know a lot of people those are just, you know what, when I get to it, when I get to it.
My cable's in my baby name.
Well, let me speak on that. There's no help for bad money management.
Oh.
Tell the truth. Say it again, preacher. There's no help.
There's no help for bad
money management.
Now,
yes, sir.
You have right now this in 2024. I could just rattle off a bunch of banks. All your banks: U.S. Bank, Premier Bank, Key Bank, U.S. Bank, Chase Bank.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo. All of them support our efforts to the max. They are major players. Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, is U.S. Bank. They're all major players. They contribute thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to our costs. Okay, so they are on board. They understand. Now it took a lot. They didn't do that willingly, right? Obviously, right. But now that has been brought to light. So what I'm saying this to say this, saying that to say this, as my brother-in-law would say. Some terrible injustice has been done.
Right.
Okay. But anyone, what I say this to my black people who want to buy a house, it is possible. It's the lane, the river is out there. You can travel down that road now, but still your responsibility does not change.
Right.
You still have to have a good credit score. You still have to have a good debt to income ratio. Now, here's the thing where we come in at. We take you by the hand, step by step, and teach you how to change your habits.
Right.
Buying a house is a process.
Right.
And a lot of people get scared of the process. They become lost in the process. You know, you can't, you know, faith without works is dead.
Yes, sir.
So have a little faith. Trust, get you an agent, preferably a realtist, who knows what's going on, works with the banks closely, knows the programs, knows all about the benefits out there. And there are a ton. I can tell you there are a ton. We just had one close up where they were giving you $20,000 to buy a house.
Listen, y'all hear that? $20,000. Go back up to Jason. Scroll back up to Jason. You said his main problem is having enough money saved for a down payment. There are programs, $5,000, $10,000, $10,000, as he said, 20, to help with that. And I've told people in my life, I've gone through it multiple times, because even when you buy a house, that doesn't make your life financially perfect. Matter of fact, you often go through seasons where you do what you need to do to get the house.
Absolutely.
Then you're living. Medical bills come, kids' expenses come. But when I'm ready to make that next move, when I was ready to buy my current house, Mr. Johnson, Bert Johnson, rest his soul, who is basically our family realtor, you know, our family agent, you know, he set me up with the guy who was walking me through. He would even parse through my credit score, and he would say, oh, you definitely have to take care of this one, this one, and this one. He would even say, don't even waste your time paying that one. He would even say, don't even waste your time. I can tell you from experience what will get you over the hump. If you have to put your money in to get a certain medical bill or a certain bill off your record or get it paid, he would tell us what to say when we called, how to write a letter. My first time write a letter and explain that situation. I was young, had the student loan, got in financial trouble. I've been stable, how to implement that. But I would tell young people, a year to 18 months of financial stability can do a world of difference to even get that credit score and that money under your belt. I say it all the time. Tax time, tax time, tax time. When you are sitting on all that money, instead of running to the furniture store and taking your kids on a bunch of vacations, I know you want to do it.
They're going to spill Kool-Aid on that furniture.
They're going to anyway. But some of them are pulling in $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 a pop. And I know you got to catch up on some bills, but if you can tuck away $3,000 or $4,000 and just not touch it, because that's what the banks will tell you, we want to see it sitting there for a minute. If you can do that, you'd be surprised. You'd be light years ahead of us who don't get those giant checks, and you still have to have income. But you said something, Deacon, that no matter how many great programs exist and how much knowledge exists, you still have to be responsible. And you cannot blame, and tax time is tithe time. Thank you very much, Scott. Tithe on them taxes.
If you hadn't paid all year.
But you said all the Wells Fargos in the world, all the Chase banks in the world, all the U.S. banks and the key banks in the world that have all these wonderful programs, they cannot be faulted for not wanting to take on your risk and your recklessness.
Absolutely.
And we call everything racist, what you said. We have experienced as much racism as anybody else or more, and banks are a huge part of that. But they're also a business, and they don't want to lose money on bad loans. And if you
got a 560 credit score.
Listen, if you can't get a check cash in red and white, I mean, if the corner store got your picture on the wall, and that's on you. And that's the elephant in the room that nobody talks about, is though it has been systemically ingrained in us, and though a lot of racist systems have been imposed upon us, we still have a legacy of people who have forged their own path with accountability and responsibility. They cared enough about the legacy. They cared enough about giving their children a safe place. My father was one of them. He was going to drive the hoopty all day long as we were in a nice, safe house and neighborhood. He was never going to have a fancy car and a garbage house or put us in an apartment. That was never going to happen. And he raised me that way. So I got friends that got the nice cars. I mean, and people who, if you can afford it, you can afford all of it. That's fine. But if you got to choose, right, I'd rather drive the Malibu and live in the nicer house than say I got the Yukon Denali and I'm getting shot at every night. But where does the accountability come in? Bruh, listen, there's a lot of bullet holes out there in them Cadillacs.
Can I just, because I really want to encourage somebody, because both times, the first time I bought a house, I bought it with my ex-wife. We're up on Williamsburg.
Right.
But her grandmother actually signed for that house, and we got divorced, and I think she went on and she took over the house.
Right.
And all that. So I didn't really have nothing to do with that when I just put my name on a couple papers earlier. But this second time, when I just bought this house, I was shook because of the stories, because of the war stories,
Yes.
because of what everybody said, how hard it was going to be. Now, I think you said something that really probably helped me out more than anything when you talk about debt to income ratio.
Right.
Because for me, I was living in a parsonage for 3 years, so I didn't have any debt at all.
Right.
I had no debt, and I had a very, very, very high income.
Right.
And so literally.
Very high. Jeff will borrow. He'll loan all of you money.
I'm sorry, but no, seriously, it ended up being so easy for me. I literally called the guy I was working with. Was like, "Is there any way this can't go through?"
Right.
Because I'm like, everybody's telling me you're gonna have to fill out this paperwork, and you're gonna have to do this, and you're gonna have to sign these papers, and you're gonna have to, make
It's
notes.
daunting.
It's like none of it happened for me.
Right.
None of it happened like that. I literally went in.
But even if it does,
But I'm just saying, it might not happen.
But when I was in bad credit mode, by the way, homeowners still had my bad credit seasons, and I went to buy a car, and you go buy a car bad credit, they will make you give them like 6 references at the raggedy car lot. 6 references. It goes through all this rigmarole. And so they can call them. They call them like,
it's the worst thing.
Ministers at my church and uncles and my former teachers.
It's the worst thing when you got your cousin call you, "Hey Jeff, hey man, Agree Auto just called."
Agree Auto just called. They want to know if you're solid. So here's what I'm saying, and this goes especially for black people and poor people all across the board. We will give up all of our information to buy a lemon.
Right.
We will go through hoops and hills and valleys to go through the welfare system and make sure we get them food stamps. They got all our information on file. They will send us a letter, and if we don't send that stuff back and tell them all our kids' information and all our income information and all of our bank statement stuff, we don't even get food stamps. It's the same thing for a house. We do it for everything else. That doesn't matter.
Right.
So or I don't say it doesn't matter, but it's a part of the perpetuation of the system that keeps us down. We will give that kind of information up for an 18% car loan. We'll give that kind of information up. They have our whole life on file at JD Bywriter and Agree Auto Sales and whoever the new people are. But honestly, when you talk about all those extra papers, that's a part of anything of value, and that's the most valuable thing you could do. And to your point of, it's still on us to go through the process.
Absolutely.
And again, everything is daunting.
It is.
Everything is hard. I often say you have to choose your hard. I don't want them in my business. Everybody's already in your business. I've worked for the bank and the government. Everybody who wants your information already has it.
Got it.
I always say that. Everybody who already wants your information already has it.
Rosalind said a co-signer. Listen, everybody ain't got a George Johnson. It's not
true.
bad.
But everyone doesn't need a George Johnson.
Right.
That's the thing. You don't need. There are programs that will get you pushed through with a 620, 640 credit score.
Yes.
Or lower.
What is it? 6 what?
What was it? 640?
640, 620. Some programs are available for 580.
Woo.
Listen, and by the way, and that's a demographic that's saying to myself, I can only get in an apartment because I'm at a 580.
Right.
And by the
Absolutely.
way, nowadays apartments ask for more than a mortgage asks for.
They absolutely do.
They ask for 3 months worth of payments up front, minimum double as a deposit, and and some of them do credit checks.
Absolutely.
And have have higher minimums than a bank would under certain programs. So again, it's about educating and talking to our people. Yeah, exactly. We moved into our home with no money down. My father came in handy not because I couldn't get the house. He signed on this latest house, which he's my LeBron, I'm Bronny, I don't care. He signed on this latest house because the realtor said, Bert knew how well off my dad was. First of all, he said, put him on one of your credit cards that you've had for 30 years and don't have a balance on, and just sign, and that will drop your interest rate 2 points because his credit was in the upper echelon. I was already approved, but I wasn't going to get the best rate. Him signing got me the better rate. I didn't need him to get the house. I needed him to get a better payment.
Right.
So but what I'm saying, but that's a benefit. That's how it can help. So tear into how some of these programs can answer some of the concerns that people have. Down payment, credit score, we kind of alluded to it, but just give us some specifics like you mentioned.
Yes, banking institutions now have a lot of programs that'll help you, that'll have down payment assistance And also not only banking institutions, but banking institutions work with agencies like OFA, like Catholic Charities, who will give you $7,000, $5,000 down payment assistance programs. Now, in order to get that, you have to go to their training program.
Right.
Okay, you have, and it's called it's a financial literacy program.
Yes,
it's what they call it, and it's basically teaching you some things that you don't learn in school, some things that you maybe mama didn't teach you what to do. You know, me personally, I was taught at home to handle my money. You know, my mama could go get her check that my dad sent her, and she could backtrack to the penny where all her money went. You know, but a lot of us are not privileged to that information. But there are agencies out there, and NAREB, the realtors, we have our own NID program, housing counseling system where we train you to do that. You know, show you step by step how to budget yourself. First thing that you have to do when you want to get a handle on your finances, well, I talked about income to debt ratio, and that's very important, is understanding where your money is going. And I encourage a lot of people now, I tell them the first thing you want to do is make a list of everything you got coming in, that's your income, and make that list of everything that you owe. And a lot of us don't want to hide that reality of who we owe. And when I say everybody that you owe, I'm talking businesses, I'm talking personal, I'm talking if that takes money out of your pocket, it should be on that paper.
Right.
You have to be honest with what's the 11th commandment? Thou shalt not lie to yourself.
Lie to yourself.
Thou shalt not lie to yourself.
I love it.
So don't lie to yourself. Put everything on there that you owe, because the banks are looking at your income to debt ratio. That's number one paramount. They're looking at that. Another thing, they're looking at your score. Now, I tell people when they say, "Oh, Calvin, I want to buy a house. I'm gonna go check my credit score." Well, you know what? I'm gonna say something. Forget your credit score. Forget your credit score. Go look at your credit. You can go to annualcreditreport.com, which is free. You ain't got to have no credit card and pay nothing. You go look at your credit. Understand your credit. Understand your credit. And look, what you first want to do is you want to find out that first block, which says derogatory information. You want to find anything that's bad people are saying about you, anything, and you want to deal with that.
Right.
Now, it takes a lot of courage to get your credit together, because you have to look at accept what you got. You got to accept and look at the mess that you done made.
Wow.
All right?
Kind of like church, right?
Yeah, look at the mess you done made.
Kind of like an altar call, right?
right? You be for real. Because you didn't do this overnight.
Right.
You didn't get in this situation overnight. So a lot of people that I find, they get frustrated because it's taking too long. Well, you didn't get in it overnight. It's going to take a while.
Right.
You know, first of all, because what you're trying to say is, first, the main thing is you have to change the way you think. You know, you have to change the way you think. Well, what Paul says in Romans, he said, change. You know, you got to be changed by the renewing of your mind.
He's preaching now.
Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm joking.
But so you have to change.
Preach.
You have to change how you think.
Right.
Absolutely.
You have to change that. And when you change how you think, you'll change your character. When you change your character, then you'll change your results.
Wow.
And that's the only way that you're going to get to be, you know, the difference between a 580 credit score, a 640 credit score, and a 700 credit score, and an 800 credit score is the character.
Wow.
See, that's why credit scores are so important, because that credit score, what that tells the bank is what kind of person you are.
Right. Wow. What about unfortunate things that fall out of your control? A medical emergency, you know, this wasn't paid by insurance. We all know how predatory the student loans have become, almost impossible situations. What would you say to people that feel like that's a major barrier?
I would say that, you know, I've been there.
Okay.
I've been there. What you have to do is you have to be honest with your creditors. What people do is when their creditor calls them or send them that letter, they typically throw it in the can or don't return the phone call. No, you want to call them. work with them. They want their money. They want to help. You know, it's going to take something. You have to, you know,
Humble yourself.
humble yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Eat humble pie.
Right.
Understand your situation because they're willing to help you.
Right.
They're willing to help.
Now, can I ask you?
Go ahead.
Can I ask you something? Because you just said that, and I think I believe that's great advice. What about those who would say, just let it chill for 5 years and it's going to fall off?
You gotta be careful who you're taking your advice from.
Right.
You gotta be careful who you listen to. You know, I mean, in certain instances that, you know, and that could be true, but in other instances that could not be true.
Right.
You know, shutting your eyes, hiding your head in the sand is not really the problem.
Right.
You know, you still got to deal with you still have to deal with your debt. I mean, if it was something like Pastor mentioned about something that was out of your control, you know, but then at the same token, I'm saying that, you know, why didn't you have health insurance?
Okay.
Okay. I mean, you got a medical bill. Okay. So why didn't you have health insurance?
Okay.
Where was your money going that you couldn't put it? We have to prioritize.
Right.
You know, we have to prioritize. And that's what's so vital important about you putting yourself on paper.
Right.
When I say putting yourself on paper, I'm saying put everybody that you owe
Right.
on paper and see where you're at. And then what that'll do is, like I taught my kids, that'll teach you, that'll be an honest look at who I am, where my money's going. Mm-hmm. And you won't get caught in this trap that you think you got extra money.
Right.
You know?
Right.
There is no such, if you're in debt, I'm going to say this to your audience. If
Preach
you're
it.
in debt, there's no such thing as extra money.
Wow. If you're in debt, there's no such thing.
No such thing as
extra money.
Broke.
You broke.
You're broke.
You broke.
Go ahead, Big Mike.
Scott Skeet. Go ahead.
I just wanted to answer a question to Jason Spencer.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
asked, how accurate is Credit Karma? Bruh, it's not that accurate. I believe you're in the ballpark.
The Credit Karma scores
Yeah,
and those
you're in the
commercial
ballpark.
scores, yeah.
But it's not
They're out to make money.
not reliable.
No, when you, matter of fact, when you go on those like Credit Karmas and those guys, if you want to look at your credit score, get a more accurate credit score, then you need to go to the 3 major credit reporting agencies, which is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experience. Right. You can go to their websites, you can sign up, and they'll help you build your credit. You know, I'm on one of them right now, and they send me emails about alerts when something happens to my credit, what I can do to do it. You know, I mean the whole 9 yards. Now I ain't already been there. You know, I can tell you for a fact that my credit was shot. You know, my credit was shot. Matter of fact, when my first house that I wound up buying, it was a land contract.
Wow.
And I didn't know how bad I bought. We had to borrow the down payment.
Wow.
Oh, that was really smart.
Right. Borrow the down payment. Right.
Borrowed the down payment, you know, and find out one day I got a check in the mail, or I got a statement in the mail from the royalty company because I had gas coming off my land. And then they said, "No, Calvin, this ain't your money. You don't own it."
Wow.
I don't own it. So that at that point, that was awakening for me, you know. And a lot of times that's what happens. We have to be shocked into the reality of the position that we're in.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. And then hopefully that will ignite a change, because the change is not overnight. It's a process. It's something that you typically need help with. They get somebody to encourage you, to say that you can do it, and let me show you how you can do it. You ask, what is the difference between a realtor and a realtist? You know, it's our heart.
Right.
Wow.
It's our heart.
Right.
Our heart is with your heart. We understand your struggle because a lot of us have been there. We understand the disparity that was put on us and what's going on. And we understand what is it going to take to get you to walk in that house and get those keys. You know, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're not going to tell you it's a piece of cake. We're going to tell you what it is, the way it is, and give you the program to help you get there step by step.
Okay.
All right, I have one more question from Mr. Larry over here. He asked, is it ever a good idea to freeze your credit?
I've heard of that, but I don't know.
I had to do it only because somebody was trying to steal my credit.
Oh, you
Gotcha. Yeah.
Your credit, you don't get all those offers in the mail because
So if you freeze your credit, you're saying you don't get offers in the mail and all that kind of stuff.
sometimes like other places they can't just run your credit randomly.
Well,
Right.
honestly,
It's a fraud protection.
Yeah,
thing.
it is because I
Oh,
froze
okay,
my
okay.
credit because I was in the process of buying a house, and they told me they actually told me to freeze it because somebody was trying to steal it. But then I forgot to unfreeze it, and I went to get a Menards credit card because I just bought a house, and it was like, you don't have no credit, dog.
You don't have no credit.
Now, real quick, you talked about the first house you bought was on land contract. There are a lot of people who will just accept any house because they want home ownership. Is that something we should look at? Even if you're buying a house that may be worth something in a couple years that you can, that you'll be able to sell it. It won't depreciate in value.
Well, we talked about that yesterday. When I bought my house on Williamsburg, it was a great buy on paper in a vacuum. Mm-hmm. It was a HUD house that was undervalued. I was buying it under its value. But very quickly, two things happened. The community was changing, and I wasn't as aware as I am now to how to look around in the neighborhood and see the signs. A lot of those stable families, those older people, the GM workers, the retirees, they were moving out. A lot of renters were moving in. House prices were plunging. I blame Grover for that. He was working for one of these landlords. I mean, just flipping these houses. I'm in a house, $45,000, $50,000, should be worth about $60,000. And right next to me, houses are being bought for $10,000. Then the financial crisis comes and everybody sees that plummet. So now I'm underwater on what should have been a sweet deal. And I should have moved out in 5 years with good equity, $20,000, $30,000 minimum under my belt to go towards something better. We ended up being there for 14 years, because every house is not necessarily a good house unless you're planning to flip it or rent it or, you're buying it as an investment. But is like how we say all money ain't good money? Is any house a good house?
Any owning that house is good as opposed to renting.
Okay.
Okay, because like in your case, you bought something that was upside down. I mean, you bought something that was good, you didn't know, and the market changed.
Right.
Messed you up. But you still had real estate.
That is true.
You still had real estate. You can take that real estate and you can rent that house out. Mm-hmm. Okay. You have to understand.
That was a disaster too, by the way. But I get it. But I understand. I wasn't a landlord. I couldn't be a landlord.
Well, if you buy something in your situation, what I would have did was just, if you're not going to make money by selling it because it's upside down.
Right.
So you rent it out. I want to go back to that question you asked about freezing your credit. Okay. Yeah, freeze your credit. That's I'm not really familiar with that term, but I understand the concept of what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Okay. While your credit is frozen, you can work on your debt. Mm. Okay. Wow, don't think of you because you're frozen credit. You can still work on your debt. You can go back to that list that you made out
of stuff that you owe.
All the stuff that you owe. And let me just throw this in here to let you know how that list works. Is you list everything in order of highest to lowest. All right. This is a 2-hour seminar.
Come on, give it to us.
List everything by highest to lowest. And then as you pay that lowest off, you take that money that you was paying to that lowest and give it to the next one. Mm. Wow. And then you keep moving up. So that's why I say you don't have extra money.
Right.
There's no such thing as extra money.
Right.
And if you got a job, you're working, and you work overtime, that's not extra money.
Jeff. He's the overtime worker here. Right.
No, you know what?
Them extra preaching gigs, that ain't extra money. That ain't extra money.
What was the question that you asked me?
Scott Heater asked,
does marriage...
Yes, because he asked it twice.
Is being married a factor in home buying?
Yeah.
It can be depending on who's got the better credit.
Right.
Okay.
If your wife has the better credit, time, and also important thing is time on job.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, time on your job. Okay. Your work history. Okay?
Right.
Because they're going to check that. But it's best, if you're married, it's best to buy together. Use her credit score and your credit score can be a hand. But if one of them is bad,
It can pull you down.
And then yes. So what you want to do is go as long as you can come up. Everything is in your name. The down payment, you can do all that. Yes, I would say do that.
Now, to work history, which was an interesting question he asked earlier, you might have to scroll up to find it. And I had the same question. How is the real estate industry and the banks adjusting to the very transient nature of people now? Because people are moving jobs a lot more frequently. People are not staying in jobs for 30 years. Matter of fact, it's in a lot of professionals' best interest to move every 2 or 3 years to a different job. So how does that affect what used to be looked at as instability? But now we have these careers where you could have 10 jobs, but very lucrative as a career. Is there some adjustment and accommodation being made for that? Or is it still looked down upon to say you had too many jobs recently?
No, Pastor. It all depends on if I'm a nurse, all right?
Okay.
Or I'm a truck driver.
Right.
Okay.
Or for a bunch of different
I'm
firms.
a mechanic.
Yeah.
Okay. My time does not stop. If I go from ABC company being a nurse for this hospital and I come to Warren and I become a nurse, there's no interruption.
Long as you're in the career
that same
consistent
career path. Now,
Gotcha.
if you change, it's only they like you to be at least 1 to 2 years in that new field.
Okay.
All right.
In the new field.
In the new field,
if you
whatever.
change.
If you change completely, they want you to be at least for a minimum of 1 year, 2 years in that occupation. Okay. Right. But I mean, also see, everything works hand in hand with together. There's no isolated thing. What I mean by that is you still have to have good credit. You still want to have a savings program. And when I talk about making that list and paying off those bills, something else that you want to do. Well, you want to pay your tithes, but first thing you want to pay yourself.
Pay yourself.
You want to pay yourself 10%. Now, these things that I'm telling you, I know they're going to be like, what? Is he out of his mind? But I'm telling you, to structure yourself to get to that position where you are a 700 credit score, you're going to have to change the person that you are now.
Wow.
So you're going to have to look at it and say, what can I do to save? If I only save, if you can't save 10%, save 5%.
Right.
Get in the habit of saving.
One of the things that I've admitted to in preaching in a practical sense, obviously, because we have a nice amount of young adults like the Jasons of the world who go to our church. I've mentioned that when I got in the home buying phase and we had that honest conversation with the gentleman that I always work with, and he is a mortgage broker, but he also does realtor style work where he walks me through the credit report. He tells me what I need to do. When I start saying, I can't do that, he would say, look again. And he would say, you're like every other father out there. He says, look at how much you spend at McDonald's. Look at how much you waste going out to eat. Look at how much you drive around aimlessly. Look at all the things. And it's embarrassing, but like you said, we have to be honest. And I just joked about this the other week when we were talking about the other week about how now your bank app basically breaks down your spending for you.
Yes, it does.
What you used to have to go through your statements and figure out, it will give you a pie chart for the last month. It'll show you how much went to restaurants, how much went to retail, how much went to utilities, how much went to payments, and it will scare. Man,
it's scary.
And it's scary and it's embarrassing, but it's needful. And all of us can hunker down, and we think people are crazy when they're saving or they're buying in bulk so they can cook every day and eat off the same meal for twice a day or whatever. If you do it right, and we exercise a little more wisdom than the world wants us to, because the world wants us to sell us everything. They want us to keep coming back. And when I think of the money I spend on a daily basis because the kids just need a little something to eat between practice and whatever, and I'm just running and grabbing them another $10, $15 value meal, that money is adding up so quick. That is debt payoff money.
$15 is not a value meal.
But it is now.
It is.
But it is now.
I'm saying though.
Right.
I'm just saying.
It is now. Perfect. Great question and we're at rapid fire coming to the end. Thank you guys for being with us. Thank you, Deacon Williamson, for being with us. Again, we have Brother Calvin Williamson with us representing the Youngstown Warren Realtist Association. He's the president. This is very insightful. I mean, you've been amazing tonight. I want to give you a couple of rapid fire questions if you want to type them in real quick. One is, can you explain how bankruptcy affects your credit? And I guess she's asking, can you rebuild your credit? Or I guess what's the best path of rebuilding credit after a bankruptcy? Is
continue to do the things that I mentioned already.
Okay.
Okay. Bankruptcies can be 3 years, 5 years. they'll drop off. You can buy a house. Filing bankruptcy is not the end of the world.
Okay.
Okay, it's not something that totally takes you out of the home buying process.
Did y'all hear that? He said, "Go file bankruptcy. You'll be fine."
Ask Donald Trump.
Okay.
Ask
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump done done it about 13 times.
No, we're joking.
You can go. Some institutions allow you to go 2 years after bankruptcy, 3 years, 5 years after bankruptcy. But the problem is you got to go back to square one. You still got to manage your bills.
Right.
You still got to get your credit. You still got to get that income to debt ratio up. You want to be, typically best case scenario, you want to be at 35%.
Yes.
Okay. You want to be at 35%. That means that 35% of your income is going towards your bills. That means what's the difference between 35 and 100?
65.
65. Okay. That means 65% of your income is yours.
Right.
Okay. Whatever debt that you have, that's not yours.
Correct. It's not your money.
Okay. All right. That's why the bank is so hyped on income to debt ratio, because that tells you how much of that money is yours and how much of that money belongs to someone else.
Very good.
I got a question. I don't know if you can answer. I don't even know if you can answer this one, but how in the world do I get past 740?
740.
740. I can't get past that. I've been trying forever.
Change your name to George Johnson.
It will not go past 740 for nothing.
But you're doing well at 740. But it's probably just the fact that, and here's the other thing.
It's because I'm black.
It's because you're black. You've been redlined out of your credit score. Well, one thing I will say to anybody our age, having been through it twice and having had ups and downs as a homeowner. I mean, I've been on the edge of, having to work with banks to keep my house, but at the same time, getting prepared and getting right back up to that 700 plus so that I can get what I need. We are living life, and life comes with hills and valleys.
Yeah.
And I think what Brother Williamson said about even bankruptcy not being the end, different failures, marks on your credit score, they're not the end. Tough seasons where you get laid off, or maybe you did look back and recognize you were really foolish. We've all had that time where we had that chunk of money and we said, where did it go? I can't believe I'm back in this boat, scraping to pay the bills or whatever. So you don't have to walk around feeling guilty and like shaming yourself. And you said something yesterday when we talked privately, and I kind of want to end on that about and unworthy of having better in life, because a lot of people feel unworthy of having better in life. They convince themselves internally that they don't deserve better, can't have better, can't live better, so they just accept it. I meant what I said at the beginning. If I'm going to live in the ghetto, I might as well live ghetto fabulous.
Right.
Might as well act like I got it going on, even though I'm basically in a hellhole, to be honest. But it's not the end of the world, because even the best people you see who seem to be doing well have unexpected things that come up. Sickness can tear a family down real quick. Unexpected expenses, or just a season in life that's not great. And we have to stop beating ourselves up, but we do have to have a conviction that we can do and must do. You don't have to be ashamed, but you do have to have a conviction and determination. And I think that's what our generation lacks, because so much stuff comes easy and convenient, and there are so many easy outs, and most people are living that way. Once upon a time, it was like a shame if you weren't trying to do better and well for yourself. But now, like, everybody's in the gutter together. Well, let's all party in the gutter together.
But truthfully,
crabs in the bowl.
If we knew
some of these things,
that somebody like you and somebody like your organization was out there, and I didn't want to deal with the white. I didn't want the white person to know how bad my stuff was. I didn't want to know how messed up I was. But if I knew that,
But can I be honest about that? What you just said?
Yeah.
I just want to tag on it. I didn't want to interrupt, but the worst thing is that we don't want each other to know how bad we're doing. When we are the ones who can help each other with compassion, understanding the most, we will go to other people and let them have all our business. And somebody will be right in front of us and we'll say, he's from our community. I don't want him to know I've been in debt, But he's the brother that helped you.
Yeah, but I feel like, you don't
want to.
I feel like
you feel more comfortable.
He understands me. He knows,
right.
He knows the struggle. And I'm hoping that other people will feel like that and see this program, see that you're out there, your organization is out there, and we give you a call.
As long as a realtist is not a preacher, because we're going to get up and put you in our sermons. I was talking to a brother yesterday. Go ahead, Big Mike.
Okay, I have a question. You've been giving advice all night on how to own a house, how to buy a house.
Here we go.
Any advice to people who own homes, mostly older people who own homes, they want to keep their home. They want to keep their home in the family. They want to pass it down from generation to generation. Any advice for them? Because I know a lot of times, when some people get sick, they go in a nursing home, the state takes it, and this and that, and then they end up losing out. Any advice for people who already own a home and how to keep it?
Sign it over to Second Baptist Church, a House of Hope, 1510 Main Avenue.
Quit it. If mama owns a house, it's not in your name, it's in mama's name. Okay, I feel where he's coming from. Mama owns a home. First thing you need to do is you need to get yourself a trust. You need to get mama to get a trust to get the house over to you or a family member. You want to keep your house out of probate.
Yes.
That's where we lose a lot of our property is lost because mama didn't get that will done or in the will or get that trust. I mean, a will is fine, but the trust, there's a saying that says the trust is like you speaking from the grave. So you want to get a trust, and that way that'll tell you exactly what you need to do. If you want to keep that home in the family, and then mama, daddy, somebody need to trust that house off to some individual somewhere, some responsible person to take it over. Or before they pass, sign the transfer the deed.
Transfer the deed. Yeah.
Transfer the deed. Before they pass, transfer that deed over. Now the property becomes theirs.
Yeah.
Okay. And if mama's going into a nursing home and you're going to say, well, we're going to keep from giving our money to the nursing home people, there's a time element that you got to deal with that. Yeah. I think it's 5 years prior to. So you can't.
It's 5 now.
You can't wait to the last minute. You can't wait till mama's in the nursing home and then go try to do it.
They'll
Too
find
late.
you.
All right. So what I want to say to you is transfer that deed. That's the most simplest way, or get the trust.
Wow.
And you'll hold on to that property. A lot of property has been lost because of the people didn't take the action, didn't get proactive. A lot of them just didn't know. I don't know what mama, and a lot of times mama didn't tell them what was going on.
Didn't tell them, yeah.
She didn't tell them that she was struggling, that she was behind on her payments. So I speak to the elderly. Let your kids know what's going on in your world. If you're having trouble, let them know. I mean, find the most responsible. If your kids are crazy and you can't depend on them,
right.
Call an agent.
Call a realtor. He's wrong. He's not wrong. You gotta call somebody because everybody can't trust their families. And again, it goes back to those values. Older people who have worked hard look at their kids out there and they're like, I'm not leaving this to them. And they delay it and kick it down the road because they know. I mean, and let's be clear. I mean, some kids got some struggles. They own some stuff. They'll sell that house with mama in it.
I'm bypassing Tiffany, Asia, Chastity, and Christian. Everything going to Grace.
Everything going to Grace.
Everything going to Grace.
Let me just say this. We're talking about a trust. The trust is very, very important. And if you got a knucklehead son or daughter that you don't trust, that trust can put that in that grandchild's name. Mm-hmm. Okay? You can put it in that great-great-grandchild's name. Okay? You can put it in there. You can do so much with that. There's no reason for us losing our neighborhood. And we have lost our neighborhood because we have lost our homes.
Tell the truth.
We lost our homes through just neglect, uneducated, misinformed, not aware of the programs that were out there to help you. It's just crazy, stupid reasons that why this home is not in the family no more.
There never should have been room for so many slumlords to move into the city and take over these houses. And many of them got in on that because of these homes being left out to dry and nobody able to claim them until they were up for sale for $11,000 in somebody's auction. And it never should have gotten to that point, but it's a reality. What is the first step to get a trust?
There's a website right now that says trustandwill.com. Because a trust can be real pricey, but it's worth it. If you sit down with an attorney and do that, it can be $700, $800. It can be a little pricey,
but it's not as expensive as losing a house out the family.
Using the house. Right. There's I just seen you probably seen them on TV. Trustandwill.com. I think they quote like $200. to set up a trust. Matter of fact, I'm going to check it out myself.
Right.
But because I don't have one as of yet.
Okay.
But it's something that we need to do. It'll prevent us from losing our homes. And when we lose our homes, we lose our neighborhoods.
Yes.
You know, do I have time?
Yes. Take it.
I came to Warren in 1960. My dad worked at Republic Steel. I came to Warren in 1960. We moved in on Oak Street, right down there where the West Center is, the corner of Todd. There was the Ohio gas station there then. I'm going back a ways.
Yeah.
But I used to peddle TV guys all up and down West Lawn, all up on 4th Street, Nevada, all them areas over there. And that was the immaculate neighborhoods.
Wow. My dad would tell me.
Immaculate, picture perfect. People would come in. Oh, come on in, son. Sit down. Get you some cold drink, and I'm selling my TV guides and all this stuff. But then the shift. Why? Why is that? Why does that once beautiful neighborhood become a
blighted neighborhood?
A blighted neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, it hurts personally. It tears me up when I see my old homestay where I used to stay, just looking bad.
Yeah.
Bad. Yeah. And you know what? Y'all may not like me, but it's in our control. We can control this. We can change this. You know, we have the banks and stuff on our side now, favoring doing change. It ain't picture perfect. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But it's changing. It's now it is shifting more to our responsibility.
Yes, it is.
Because we are now giving some tools to really work with. We can really change.
Right.
But we're going to have to change the way we think, the way we look at ourselves, and the way and the responsibility that we're willing to accept. You know,
I agree.
You can be a homeowner. If you're paying $1,000 a month rent, $1,200 a month rent for a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house, if you're on Section 8, you can be a homeowner. If you live in Trumbull County, Mahoney don't have it. But Section 8 program, voucher program, you can use your voucher to make your monthly payments. We can walk you through that process.
Right.
So there's no excuse for anyone who has an inkling becoming a homeowner. If God has put that in your spirit that you want to own your own home, you can do it. It's possible. Right. Talk to us, talk to me, talk to any realtors, and we will show you how to make that happen. It ain't going to be easy, you know, but it's going to be simple because we're going to walk you through step by step, by step by step. And there's nothing like home ownership.
No.
There's nothing like home ownership.
No.
It builds wealth. It builds security. It has been stated that there is less people who own their homes have less health issues, have better stable homes. You know, that kids do better in school. You know, there's a whole bunch of statistics I could run down to you to show you the impact of home ownership. Let me just end with this, and I picked this something off. I just picked this up off AI. Is that the government did a whole bunch of bad stuff to keep us from buying a home. Mm-hmm. Why did they do that? Because they understood the value of home ownership,
the power,
and how important it was to us to own a home. They wanted to keep us down.
Right.
You know, they wanted to keep us down. They wanted us to make us feel inferior. And this is a racial slave mentality thing that they wanted to keep us in. You know, all that hate stuff that they did. But you can change that.
Yes, sir.
We can change that. And so now the mindset has changed. Different banking institutions, the government, everything is on our side, so to speak. Right. But now it's still, that the problem with that is now it becomes our challenge.
Right.
Now we have to take on the responsibility to position ourselves to get in a position to buy a home. You said about 740 credit score.
Yes.
An 800 credit score. Mm-hmm. All right. I know people who are 800 credit scores, numerous of them. Okay. All right. I'm in the 700s. All right. So there's a difference. So there's some things that I'm doing that they're not doing. If you want to know, and I speak this to you, if you want to know how to become an 800 credit score, okay, if you're out there and you're sitting at 640, you're sitting at 580, and you want to be 700, go talk to a person who is a 700.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
And he'll tell you what he's doing. Some crazy, you might think like, what? Okay. Yeah. Go talk to that person.
Yeah.
He'll tell you how to get there.
Amen.
He'll tell you, but be prepared.
Right.
Be prepared.
Listen, I've talked to, like, my dad would talk to me and he would say, so you ready to give one of your cars up? He would say different things like, he's like, son, I know you're in that phase. I know you got to have it. He's like, but maybe you should, buy used one, cash out, because DTI, some of those things. And even when it's healthy, sometimes it can be too much. We're in that mode where we can do it, but just because we can do it doesn't mean we should.
Right.
And you're absolutely right. He would always say, are you prepared for my answer on how to get it up to where I'm at?
Be
Trust
ready.
me, I don't even ask my mother-in-law. she got it. I know she. And I ain't ready. I ain't gonna lie.
I thought at one time with my dad, I thought my dad was so unfair to me. I'm working. I've been working since I was 14 years old. I'm working. I come to buy a car. My daddy told me that, no, you're not going to go get that $3,000 at that time you could win. You're going to go buy that $100 car. This is what you're going to ride around in a hoopty.
That's my dad.
No, you're not going to do that. And hey, that's my dad.
Yep.
He said that.
Larry knows, Big L knows about our hoopties. Johnson hoopties are legendary hoopties.
Yeah.
And still got the grandchildren driving them and all that. I want to answer this, Sister Johnson's last question. She mentioned about some realtors feel, especially newbies, and you're right, because I've run into this, new realtors and realtists, they feel entitled to your business because they know you or go to church with you and all of that. And I understand. I've watched people do that. They just get their license and they want everybody to owe them basically their business. First of all, in any place, people should earn your business and show that they are trustworthy enough to work with you. And we have to stop doing that in the Black community and the church in general, is making people feel like, now, of course, we want support from our own, but you got to prove that you deserve that support and you're going to do right by people. So do what's best for you. And like Brother Williamson said, go to somebody who knows what they're talking about and wants your best interest at heart. Whether it was Mr. Hampton, of course, whether it was Mr. Williamson, I've got, I'll shout him out, Brother Herb Caldwell does insurance, of course, Bert, rest his soul. I am grateful that there have been people out there who just want to see us do better. They're not trying to make a sale. They want to see us do better. They love to get the business and work on our behalf. And of course, they benefit from their expertise. They deserve it if they get that commission or whatever. But they're actually concerned about our financial condition. They're absolutely concerned that we have the right insurance product. They're concerned that we go with the right bank. And, I talked to a banker the other day and he was like, even if you don't go with us, we just want to give you advice so that whoever y'all go with, you'll know that you got the right deal. And we have
trying to sell us houses and you stay in an apartment.
Listen, how you a realtor and you live with your mama?
Just like a bald head man trying to sell me here.
Right.
If it ain't work for you, it ain't gonna work for me.
Y'all, this has been amazing. I think, Deke needs his own show, first of all. We need to have like a home buyers podcast.
We're going to talk to him after this.
We need to have a conversation.
We're going to talk.
We're going to corner him and give him the hard sell. We're not going to let you out the building. But it's been so great, and I mean it. First of all, you did phenomenal. If you had any worries about how well you present information, and it has been absolutely amazing. I'm about to go home and fuss at my wife about buying too much fast food. Everything she said, I'm going to say, Deke Williamson said, we ain't got no extra money. We ain't got no extra money.
On the cruise with
we ain't got no extra money. We ain't got no extra money. But I mean, it's been amazing, the information you've presented. And I think we have to go from the stage, and our generation is good for this, especially social media age. We have to go from the rhetoric. We have to go from the likes and the comments, and we need to own our own, and we need to such and such. And we love giving speeches to each other. But it's the quiet disciplines that make the difference.
Absolutely.
Not all the loud pronouncements or celebrating faraway people who did something amazing. Look at that guy that bought his family a whole property and that's great for him. What are you doing for you?
Right.
Like, what are you doing for you? And in a place like this, Northeast Ohio is still one of the most affordable places to live.
most.
And even with inflation,
Absolutely.
truth be told, 4 or 5 years ago, it was gravy. But even with inflation, it's still one of the most
Yes, it is.
affordable places.
Yes, it
And if you can't stake your claim here, stop talking about moving to Miami and Florida and Nevada
Atlanta.
and buying 500,000
Columbus.
houses and all
I'm going
this
to Atlanta.
stuff. I'm going to, you be right back.
Don't be in the street.
Man.
Listen, one of the most
Living in a
exciting
U-Haul.
things you will ever be able to do is to
sign.
sign that paper.
Get that key.
Get that key. And then even afterwards, to be able, when you filling out something else and they say, are you a homeowner?
Yes.
And you can say yes. I talked to them earlier about, the first time I cut my grass and people just riding past you. You got your little
Listen.
straw hat on. It is when they say it is really a dream.
I cut grass when it don't need cut just so I can be seen out there riding the mower. But there hasn't been a time on my second house. There hasn't been a time when I haven't gotten that key in my hand and didn't shed a tear and was like, man, how? But like, this is just amazing, and to put my kids there. And I was glad we did it when the second house and Bert sold it to us. And I said, I want us to take a family picture with Bert.
Right.
Because he had taken care of me and my brothers, all of us in houses with Mr. And I knew that my kids come along, he might not be around. He's not. I said, but I want them to know who helped make it happen. Yeah. Who helped guide me along. When I was disgusted, he'd be like, this what you gonna do? You follow? You follow? This is what we gonna do. He would come in with his little folder. I got you, Pastor. I got you. You follow? He would keep saying, and then we gonna put this money out. You follow? And I'll never forget, because everything he was telling me, I needed to hear. And, he put me in contact with people. I'm like, why would he make me call this dude in Canfield? Then I realized the dude in Canfield was going to walk me through my credit. He was going to walk me through my bank statements. He was going to do the stuff that the guy that just wants my money was not going to do. Right. And then I realized on the back end, he didn't even really make money off of this. Right. You know what I mean? He just wanted us to do better. Because I know what you should get, out of these deals. So I'm really grateful for this, Deacon, and I'm really committed as a pastor. I know Pastor Jeff is down in Steubenville. We've already had you as a guest a second, and I mean it. I want to start like a home buyers club where we have like regular meetings. We can use this building, the church, and people who are interested, not just in one-off workshops, but they're interested in getting on that journey, because we got to do it for our people. They've got to be willing to do it. So
that lady was asked that question about picking an agent.
Yes.
I don't know if we're still alive or not.
That's okay. We're live.
But I would say this. Before anything is, you got to know how much they care. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. I lost my train of thought.
That's
here.
okay.
But, you tell me how much you care. Okay, I got it. I don't care how much you know till I know how much you care.
Yes, sir.
All right. And that comes with a person willing to sit down with you and get to know you.
Right.
And sit down eyeball to eyeball to you and get to know you. What is your situation? What is the job that I have to do for you?
Right.
It's not a cookie cutter.
Right.
It's not an assembly line. Everybody is different. Every situation is uniquely different. And it's my job as a realtor, as an agent, as a realtor, to keep myself up to breast, to study, to spend the time, to educate myself so that I can help you.
Right.
Okay.
I love it.
So and then I am going to be, and I have access to people who can help me help you.
Right.
I can't do it all. All right. But I know I can tell you, I say, okay, hey, you don't have any money to put down. You don't want to do the PMI thing.
Right.
I got a plan for you.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I got a plan for you. I got some banks who loan you money, who can get money. You don't have to pay any PMI. You don't have to have any down payment. Okay. But the thing, we got to be careful with that. We can get you in the house with limited funds that you have to have, but still you have to have that character to maintain that house.
Maintain the house.
Absolutely. Don't take it because it was easy for you or not. So you got, this agent gave you $10,000 and you got your house and you walked in, you didn't have to do all that. I got my house. Well, don't let that lessen the value.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The opportunity that you have in your hand. You got that money from them people because they have a sincere heart to help you.
Right.
Because they understand the importance of home ownership.
Right.
And they're willing to make that sacrifice, to help you get there. And now once you get there, you have to show the appreciation by staying there and helping someone else
get there. Thank you.
Amen.
Pastor Jeff, final words?
The purchase is worth the process.
Man, that'll preach. That'll preach, brother. I'm going to just write that down and steal that for my next sermon. It's been rich. I feel inspired all over again. I'm a 2-time home buyer, and I already feel inspired all over again to help encourage others and see our generation do better. Big Mike? He's good. Man, thank y'all for tuning in. This is definitely a show you need to tag some folk in. Tell them to go back and watch it on their free time. So much great information and so much more to come. I promise you, as sure as my name is Todd Johnson, you're going to hear about some more home buying opportunities and information and programs very, very soon. It's time for us to get moving. I know several people who need to get started, and I'm about to make a connection real soon. So we love y'all. Thank you for tuning in. I want y'all to have a safe and happy 4th of July.
Please,
even though our real Independence Day was Juneteenth. We'll have a safe 4th of July. And my final words are, those aren't fireworks, those are gunshots. Duck and cover. Peace out. Listen.